Oh my goodness, it has been a long time. It's strange for me to be posting on this channel because after founding this company in 2015 and moving into full-time ministry, I really didn't find myself thinking that I would ever return to this channel, return to making content for this channel. But given the progression in our world and the trajectory that our world is moving at the moment, I think that having this platform and this particular channel opened up again is going to be edifying to those who happen to come across it and listen to what I have to say. So for those who don't know, Frontline Strength was a strength and conditioning company I founded in 2015 to help men get strong. And what I've seen since 2015 and since moving away from the company into more full-time ministry is that men have gotten weaker and weaker and weaker and really don't know what it means to be strong anymore, don't know what it means to be masculine. And I've noticed in my own life, because the expectations of society are so low for men, it's hard for me as a man to live into the role that I have been given by God. And so what this channel is going to be doing, as you may have noticed in the bio, is this is about forging strong Christian men. I, as a man who am fighting against this cultural feminization of man and moving towards a biblical model of manhood, want to share what I'm learning, what I'm experiencing along the way with you as you are a man and trying to grow into a greater man. And so the question I wanted to address in today's video is just the question of strength. What does it mean to be strong? What does it mean to be a strong man? Now, I think the majority of us immediately associate strength with this idea of lifting heavy things, weightlifting, athletic, muscle, things like that, this warrior kind of attitude. And there is a truth in that because these are physical manifestations of what we would deem as strength. The Lord has given us, by His grace, physical ways to behold something. And so when you see a man that is willing to defend his family as a warrior and he's strong and burly, that is masculine. Whereas you see a man with dyed pink hair, skinny jeans, and wearing makeup, you recognize that as feminine. And so we have these visual cues that can help us to understand what it means to be a strong man. But these are not fundamentally the only markers of strength. In fact, I would say that sometimes that outward strength, that outward appearance of masculinity can really be a facade for what is going on the inside. And so Frontline Strength has had a model of strength that I have taught for a number of years now that I try to incorporate into the way that I train my clients and the way that I've really approached the philosophy of strength. And I've called it the triad of strength. And these three things are really the fundamentals of what it means to be a strong man. The first one is spiritual strength. This is the core of all strength. This is the foundation of your worldview. From what are you operating and living in the world? Second is mental strength. And this is kind of, I guess you could say, the way in which your spiritual strength then influences that which you do in the world. And then finally, there's your physical strength. Your physical strength is the actual action that comes out of these two other layers. And so these are the three layers of strength. These are the three layers that I would consider to be important for men to recognize and to build. And so as I move in making more content on this channel, my plan is to really dive into each one of those aspects in various ways and try to help you become a stronger man as I myself pursue a greater sense of what it means to be a man. And so foundationally, this idea of spiritual strength, if you're watching this, you need to recognize that apart from God, apart from a robust worldview that starts with God, you can't really have anything other than a superficial strength. If you have no beatific vision that you're moving towards, if you have nothing greater than yourself that you're moving towards, something eternal, something transcendent, then everything that you do in some sense doesn't matter. Everything you do will end when your body is put 6 feet under and you become dust. And so those who are operating in the world with this sense of strength, maybe they're lifting weights, maybe they're pursuing success in careers or whatever it might be, these people are pursuing it for what exactly? This is the fundamental question that humanity is trying to answer. We are pursuing something and we're moving somewhere for what? And so as a man, the way in which we ground ourselves, the grounding that gives us the strength to pursue other things with the right framework, with the right orientation that takes our disordered pursuits and orders them to the right place, is fundamentally God. And so you cannot be strong as a man if you do not have this foundation. Now, the second layer, your mental strength, this is what you do with that reality. This is the things that then shape the way that you interact with the world around you. So, for example, if I believe in God, that causes me to desire to be a strong man in my family. So for my wife, I want to be a strong husband. I want to be faithful to my wife. I want to honor the exclusivity of our union. Therefore, I want to reject things like lust and pornography and masturbation and those things which many men are stuck in a rut with. I want to present myself in the world as somebody who is capable, somebody who is committal, somebody who is disciplined in the things that I say I'm going to do. These are all aspects of mental strength, and that word discipline that I just used is huge for that. If you are undisciplined, if you don't have discipline in your life, that shows that your grounding is somehow off. Because a man who believes in God, a man who recognizes what he's moving towards, the beatific vision, will also be a man that desires to discipline himself, that mentally recognizes, I must be disciplined in the things that I have been given, that therefore, in order that I might therefore move towards this beatific vision. And then finally, and this is really tied to the mental strength, it's your physical strength. It's the action. It's the things that you do. It's very easy for men nowadays to talk a big talk, and I've been guilty of this myself. It's very easiest for us to say, I would like to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to change this in my life and this in my life, and then we don't ever take steps to move towards those things. And so the question is, can you really say that you're grounded in your faith if what you say you're going to do with your mouth, the things that you think about, are not manifested in action? And so a good way that I like to show the blend of mental and physical strength is through the lifting of weights. If I go up to a squat rack and there's 400 pounds on the bar, and I get under the bar and I believe to myself, I can do this, but then I just leave the bar, well, can I actually squat 400 pounds? Well, nobody would ever know, right? Because I haven't actually done it. You flip that, if I get under the bar and I actually get up to squat 400 pounds, and as I feel the weight of the load bearing down on my spine, I say, oh, I don't think I can do this. There is 100% chance that when I squat that weight, I will not be able to get it back up because my mind has now given in to this false assumption of I can't do it. The only way to build both physical and mental strength is to say in your head, I can do this, and also then manifest that by actually doing the thing that you say you're going to do. And undergirding these two realities is the spiritual strength, the grounding in God that enables us to do the things that we have been called to do. And so I use lifting as an example, but another great example would be, let's say in marriage, right? I want to be a good husband to my wife. I don't want to struggle with porn. I don't want to struggle with masturbation. I don't want to lust. And so when I look at these kinds of things and I say to myself, I can do this, I can overcome this, but it's not then backed up with action where I'm not putting myself in vulnerable positions, it's worthless. Likewise, if if I actually have shut my computer and I've moved things away, but in my head I'm telling myself, you're always going to go back to it. You know you will. You can't overcome this. It's just, come on, how many times have you fallen already? I'm also probably going to fall back into sin. Actually, I'm going to guarantee that I will fall back into sin. And so the only way to take this knowledge of God that leads me on the path of righteousness is to say to myself, by the power of grace, I will resist these things. I will not fall into these things. And then actually put forth actionable steps that you will take to prohibit yourself from falling into these kinds of traps. Lock down your computer, put an accountability software on your phone, get rid of your phone, get a wise phone instead, things like that. And so these are the layers of strength, and these are the things desperately missing from our society, from our culture, and from our understanding of what it means to be a man. And so my encouragement to you guys watching is join me, join the Frontline Strength movement, and grow into what God has called you to be. Don't settle for the low expectations of culture that say, as a man, all you need to do is make some money so that you can buy a house, and that's that. Don't buy into that. There is so much that we are called to do, and I can guarantee that there are so many of you watching that feel so unfulfilled because you recognize in yourself this need, this necessity to live out your masculinity, and yet you don't know how. You've never been taught, you've never been trained, and you feel yourself lacking. And so these videos are an encouragement to you, not as somebody who's standing at the top who says, I am doing all these things perfectly, but as somebody who's in the trenches with you saying, I want to be a better man today, and I'm going to take steps to do that in accordance with what God Himself has called me to do. And so this is my journey. I'm going to be sharing my journey and sharing it in hopes that the things that I do and the things I implement in my life to live into a biblical masculinity will be things that will also help you to do the same.